So in this video, we are going to see how to sketch the graph of certain functions. The first graph which I have taken is y into 1 plus x square is equal to x square. So let us see how to sketch this using the steps we have already learned. So in the first step, we need to check if there is symmetry with respect to y-axis or not. So if your graph equation doesn't change, when you replace x with minus x, you would say that the graph is symmetric with respect to y-axis. So this gives us useful information that if we sketch on one side of the y-axis, on the other side we can take the mirror image. So that reduces our task of sketching. The second step is we need to check whether there are some quadrants where no part of the curve lies. So for that, let us look at the expression for y. As you can see in this expression, all the terms are definitely positive, and so we can easily say that no part lies in the third and the fourth quadrant. So our region of sketching will now reduce to only the first and second quadrants, as no part of the curve is going to lie in the third and the fourth quadrants. So here we can see that the curve is going to lie completely in the first and the second quadrants, and no part is going to lie in the third and the fourth quadrants. The next part is regarding the range and the domain. From the expression of y, we can easily see that x can belong to the set of real numbers. It can assume any real values. So as far as the domain is concerned, we would say the domain is set of all real numbers. For the range part, we can see here that the numerator is always smaller than the denominator, because in the denominator we have 1 plus x square and numerator is simply x square. So we can say that x square is definitely going to be less than 1 plus x square, and therefore this ratio x square divided by 1 plus x square is going to be less than 1, and this expression is nothing but your y. So we can say that y has to be less than 1. So our range part will be that y is less than 1, and on the other side we have the other limit, because each of these terms are definitely going to be positive, so the entire expression is going to be a positive expression. So our y has to be between 0 and 1. So this is our restriction for the range. So that means if the y is only between 0 and 1, we can just make another rough sketch that our graph is going to lie between only the value of y at 0, and say if I mark 1 here, then my graph is going to lie completely in this portion. No part will lie beyond this portion, because y has a restriction, it cannot exceed 1. It can also not be equal to 1, because this ratio can never become equal to 1. Okay, so we have that y is between 0 and 1, and we can also see when we check for points of intersection that when I put my x as 0, I get y as 0. So y could be 0, but it cannot be equal to 1. It is strictly less than 1. Okay, so this is our range, and the point of intersection also we get from the next step, that is the origin. 0, 0 is the point of intersection. So this is the point through which the curve is going to pass. Now next we will check with the derivatives. For the first derivative, we are going to use the quotient rule and find out the derivative. This is the expression for the derivative, and when we equate this to 0, we get x equals to 0. So now we are going to divide the number line using the 0 point, x equals to 0 point, into two intervals. So your first interval on the left side is minus infinity to 0. On the right side, your interval is 0 to infinity. So we will now check the sign of f dash in these two intervals. So first expression of f dash or dy by dx is this. Here you can see that denominator is always positive. So the sign is determined by the sign of 2x, and in fact the sign of x. So whenever your x is negative, this whole expression will become negative, and whenever x is positive, this whole expression will become positive. So our sign of f dash is negative on the left of 0 and positive on the right side of 0, which means 0 gives us a point of minima. The behavior of the function changes from decreasing to increasing. So this 0 gives us a point of minima. And when we put x equals to 0, we have already seen that the coordinate of y is also 0. So 0, 0 or the origin point is the point of minima for this particular function. Okay, so that is the information which we get from the first derivative. Now let us move on to the second derivative. When we differentiate this again, we'll again have to apply quotient rule, and this will be the expression for the derivative, second derivative for the given y. When we equate this to 0, we get value of x as plus or minus 1 by root 3, which is approximately plus or minus 0.6. So we just roughly want to get an idea where this point is located. So you can take any approximation to 1 digit or 2 digits of decimal. So when we use this value of x, we get these 2 points, or these are the y coordinates. Now let us first see what is the behavior of the second derivative in the intervals which are divided by these 2 points. So these are our critical numbers of second order. Okay, so we have critical numbers of second order as x equals to plus 1 by root 3 and x equals to minus 1 by root 3. So when we divide the number line using these two numbers, we are going to get 3 different intervals, and we will check the sign of f double dash in these 3 intervals. So in the first interval, that is less than minus 1 by root 3, we can just substitute some values. We have the approximate value of minus 1 by root 3, which is minus 0.6. So we can take some point here, say minus 1, and we can substitute that in this expression, and we will see that sign of f double dash comes out to be negative. In the denominator, you can see the expression is always going to be positive. So the only term which you have to check for the sign is this term, which is 1 minus 3x square. So the sign of this is going to tell us the sign of f double dash. So here when we put something smaller than minus 1 by root 3, we get a negative sign. When we take something between minus 1 by root 3 and plus 1 by root 3, so here we can take 0 as the trial number in between these two numbers. So put x equals to 0, the sign is positive. Then take something bigger than 1 by root 3. Say for example, you can take 1. Put the value of x as 1. You get the difference negative. The value is negative. So the sign of f double dash is negative. So that tells us that in the interval minus infinity to minus 1 by root 3, the function is concave down. In between minus 1 by root 3 and plus 1 by root 3, it is concave up, and then for greater than 1 by root 3, the function is concave down. So this tells us the concavity behavior. It also tells us that these 2 points are points of inflection, because the function concavity behavior changes from down to up and then from up to down. So these are the coordinates of the points of inflection. We have to substitute x equals to 1 by root 3 in this expression. Y is equal to x square by 1 plus x square. Here we put x equals to 1 by root 3 and we get y as 1 by 4. So that is 1 point. Then again when we put x as minus 1 by root 3, we will get the same value of y because we have x square here. So it will not change the value, and you are again going to get 1 by 4. So we are going to approximately mark these points on our 2D plane, and then we are going to complete the graph. So as you know, the function is having a point of relative minima here. So that means close to this point it has to be a cup shape opening upwards, because minima signifies that the shape has to be like this. After this, what information we have from the second derivative, that tells us that approximately at minus 0.6 and 1 by 4, which would be somewhere here, and plus 0.6 and 1 by 4, which is somewhere here, the concavity behavior changes from being up to down on the right side and on the left side it is down first and then it changes to concave up. So this is how roughly we can draw the shape of the graph which passes through origin. It also satisfies these conditions of first derivative, that it is decreasing when x is less than 0 and it is increasing when x is greater than 0. And lastly, we know that the function is not going to cross this line y equals to 1. It will also not be equal to the value 1, because you can see from here that this expression will never become equal to 1. So this line y equals to 1 is in fact an asymptote to this curve, okay, because the curve is not going to meet it and its branches are going to towards infinity. As x goes towards infinity, the expression is going to tend to 1. So it is going to become closer and closer to this line, but it will never meet the line. So that is how we can make a rough sketch of this expression y is equal to x square by 1 plus x square. Next is this example, y is x minus 2 into x plus 1 whole square. So this is a polynomial expression, and as you can see that there are no symmetry conditions satisfied here, because when we replace x with minus x, our expression is going to change. So there is no symmetry with respect to y-axis. Next, the quadrant part. In this you can notice that whenever this part is always positive. So let us see if there is some value of y which or some quadrant which can be eliminated. So here when you notice that whenever your x is negative, when your x takes values smaller than 0, this expression is definitely going to become negative. Okay, so that means in this portion when x is negative, your y also has to be negative. So it would be in the third quadrant somewhere, and therefore it shows or tells us that no portion will lie here. Okay, so we all need to eliminate some quadrants for sketching. That is going to help us. So in this step we are going to see if we can eliminate a complete quadrant from our sketching purpose. So we can see here that if I take my x to be negative, my y will also be negative, which means it will never come in this portion. In this portion we have x negative and y positive. So no such x and y coordinates will exist on the graph, and therefore no portion is going to lie in the second quadrant. So that is how we use this second step. For the third step, regarding the range and domain, as such from the expression we cannot make out what is the restriction. X can assume any values on the set of real numbers. Similarly, y can also become negative or positive. So as such we find no such restrictions currently. Then we move on to the points of intersection. When we put x equals to 0, just put x equal to 0 here, you will get the value of y, which is minus 2. And when you put y equals to 0, you can see there are two factors here. So one, x is equal to 2 and x is equal to minus 1 we get from the second factor. So there are these 3 points of intersection. One is 0 comma minus 2, which is here. Then we have 2 comma 0, which is here, and minus 1 comma 0, which is here. So we know that our curve is going to pass through these 3 points. Next we move on to the derivative. When we calculate the first derivative, this is the expression and when we equate it to 0, we get two values of x. One, x equals to plus 1, and one value is x equals to minus 1. So that means we need to divide the number line into 3 intervals: less than minus 1, between minus 1 and 1, and greater than 1. These are our two critical numbers, and the number line gets divided into 3 intervals. In the first interval, if you see the sign of f dash, it comes out to be positive. So again you can assume any number, like you can put 0 here. You can put anything less than minus 1. So say you can put minus 2 here and check the sign. So you will see it is positive. Between minus 1 and 1 you can put 0. Then greater than 1 you can take 2 and you can check the sign. So the sign is positive negative and then again positive, and hence we get to know that the function is increasing, then again decreasing in this interval and then increasing, and therefore these 2 points are points of extrema. First one is corresponding to point of maxima. The second value of x gives us a point of minima, and when we substitute these values of x in the expression for y, we are going to get the coordinates, the y coordinate as well. So when we substitute x equals to -1, y value is 0. When we put x equals to +1, y value is -4. So that gives us these 2 points, -1, 0, which is here, and 1, 4, which is here, which are the 2 points of extrema. At -1, 0, it is a point of maxima. So your graph has to be an inverted cup shape like this. It has to reach a peak at this point, and at 1, -4, it is attaining a point of minima. So that means your graph has to be a cup shape like this, turning upwards. Also we know that less than -1, the function is increasing, so it has to rise up like this. Between -1 and +1, it is decreasing, so it is going to fall. Then greater than 1, it is again going to increase and keep on rising. So these are the points which we get from the first derivative. From the second derivative, we can get to know the concavity part. So the second derivative comes out to be 6x. When you put it equal to 0, you get x equals to 0. This is the critical number of second order, and the sign of the second derivative to the left side of 0 is negative. To the right side of 0, it is positive. So we can say that this point is giving us a point of inflection. Coordinates are 0, -2, and to the left side it is concave down. So the diagram was almost correct, okay, because we have already drawn it concave down. To the right side it is concave up, so it should be a cup shape opening upwards, and this side it is inverted cup shape. So this is how we will make the rough sketch for this graph y is equal to x minus 2 into x plus 1 whole square. This is the next example where we have an exponential function. So our function y is ex plus e to the power minus x, and we will see how we can use our steps to construct or make the rough sketch of the graph. The first step is to check for symmetry. Now when we replace x with minus x here, we can see that equation remains the same, and hence it tells us that it is symmetric with respect to y-axis. Second part, in order to see if there is some quadrant which can be eliminated, we can always note that exponential function can never take a negative value. So whatever is the value of x, e to the power x will always be positive. E to the power minus x will also be a positive number. So our y can never become negative. So that means no part is going to lie in the third and the fourth quadrant. We can eliminate completely third and the fourth quadrant from sketching purposes. Next we move on to the range and domain part. Domain, x can assume any real number. So the entire set of real numbers is the domain. The range part, as I mentioned, y has to be positive. It has to be between 0 to infinity. And to be more specific, the minimum value of y will be 2. So when we do the first derivative, we can also see that in that step that point of minima gives us y equals to 2. So that will further ensure that the range is from 2 to infinity. In any case, for now we can assume that our range is 0 to infinity, and when we check the first derivative, then we can be more sure that the range is from 2 to infinity. Next we come to the intersection part. When I put x equals to 0, I get y is equal to 2. When we put y equals to 0, our expression e to the power x becomes equal to minus of e to the power x. So if we try to solve this, we get e to the power 2x is equal to -1, which is not possible because exponential values are always positive, and so there is no such value of x, which means there is no intersection with the x-axis. Only intersection is with the y-axis at 0, 2. So we can mark the point here 0, 2 as our point of intersection through which the graph is going to pass. Next we check the first derivative. The first derivative is e to the power x minus e to the power minus x. When we equate this to 0, we get e to the power 2x to be 1, and which means x is 0. So when we put x as 0, we get y as 2. So this point is basically the point which is our critical number of first order. Then further, when we investigate the sign of f dash, to the left of 0, sign of f dash is negative. To the right of 0, it is positive. So we will just see why that happens, and therefore it gives us that at 0 we get a point of minima. The function is decreasing first and then increasing. So this 0 gives us a point of minima, and therefore the shape of the graph has to be somewhat like this, a cup shape opening upwards. Okay, now let's see why our derivative has a negative sign to the left of 0. So for that, what we are going to use is the concept that the function e to the power x is an increasing function. So when we look at f dash again, our f dash x is e to the power x minus e to the power minus x. We can rewrite this as now we can easily see this part is always positive. So the sign of f dash is determined by e to the power 2x minus 1. Now because 2x is always, whenever our 2x or our x is negative, e to the power 2x is going to be less than e to the power 0, which is, so that means in this term e to the power 2x is less than 1, and therefore this difference is going to be negative. So that ensures that the sign of f dash to the left of origin is negative. Similarly, we will show that when our x is greater than 0, sign of f dash is positive. So again we'll do the same step. When our x is greater than 0, our 2x is greater than 0, which means e to the power 2x is greater than e to the power 0, which is nothing but 1. So this gives us that this expression e to the power 2x is going to be greater than 1, and therefore this difference is going to be positive. So that is how we can determine the sign of f dash to the left of 0 and to the right of 0. So it confirms the fact that origin is the point of minima for this particular function. X equals to 0, sorry, not origin. X equals to 0 and y is equal to 2. This point is the point of minima. Further, when we move to the second derivative, we can see the expression is e to the power x plus e to the power minus x, and when we equate this to 0, we had earlier seen when we calculated the point of intersection that this gives us no value of x, okay, because this can never become 0 because of the fact that exponential functions are always going to be positive values, strictly positive. So we have no critical numbers of second order, but we can see that since this value is always positive, so the second derivative will always be positive, and therefore it is concave up for the entire real line. For all values of x, the function is going to be concave up. So that tells us this is the shape of the graph of the function. You can have a slight variation in how narrow or how wide you want to make the graph. So slight variations are allowed, but remember it has to be symmetric. Secondly, this has to be a point of minima, and thirdly, it is always concave up, so it is like a cup shape. So that is how you can make a rough sketch for this function. So that is all in this lecture, and we'll discuss more examples in the coming classes.